And after the reception,
A fraudulent wedding.
deception?
He refused to sign the marriage certificate.
Why didn't you sign it?
This is Judge Judy. James Potts is suing his former landlord, April McDermott, for car expenses and the return of his security deposit.
Judge, this is case number 64 on the calendar in the matter of Potts versus McDermott. Parties have been sworn in. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
Mr. Potts, this case reads a little bit from your complaint and from Miss McDermott's answer as almost a mini-series. From what I gather, you rented a guest house on Miss McDermott's property. In what year did you do that, sir?
2019, Your Honor.
And you are a veteran.
Yes, ma'am.
And from what I gather from your complaint, the Veterans Affairs paid not only some of the rent, but also paid the security deposit for the first several months you were there. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
How many months did the VA pay rent?
They paid for June, July, August, September, and November.
June, July, August, September. What about October?
October also, I'm sorry.
And November. So the VA paid for 6 months. Give me the month in 2019 that you moved in.
June.
June. And when did you move out?
I moved out February 4th of 2020.
So December and January, just follow me, were the only 2 months that you personally were responsible for rent.
That's correct.
Did you pay December's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he pay December's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you pay January's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he pay January's rent?
No, Your Honor.
How much did you pay in January?
In January, I started paying the rent in December.
Just no.
Okay.
Tell me, Mr. Potts, let's not play with each other. You know, I'm smart.
Yes, you are.
May not be youthful and lithe anymore, but I am smart. How much did you pay for January's rent?
The total was about $900 because I started paying December's rent in November, and between
Oh, no,
November,
no.
I understand.
How much did you pay in January? If you can't give me an answer, I'm going to ask her.
I did.
How much did you pay in January?
In January,
How much did you pay in January?
$150.
Yeah. And you moved out in February.
February 4th.
So, and the total rent was $1,200 a month. So you paid $1,200 in December. So you paid a total in rent for this guest house of $1,350. Now, while you were there, two things happened while you were living in the guest house. First, you brought a friend over to visit you, and the friend that you brought over and the defendant developed an affection for each other and decided to get married. They asked you, because I assume they felt that you were the reason that they found each other, if you would get ordained as a minister so that you could perform the ceremony, and you could do that online. Also correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
In what month did you become an ordained person so that you could perform their wedding ceremony?
That was in January of 2020.
Just for my own purposes, would you explain the process to me, how that works? Do you have to fill out forms? Do you have to pay a fee? What do you have to do? And
I went on.
How did you find it?
I did a little bit of research, and I found Universal Life Church did online ordinations. You apply, there's no fee, and you become ordained.
And did you do that?
I did that.
And did you get a... I'd like to see it because that's part of her counterclaim. Okie dokie. And when did you perform the ceremony?
That was on January 23rd, Your Honor.
Also, in addition to doing this mitzvah of putting these two lovely people together, that means a good deed, putting these two people together, you also bought from the defendant a used car for $1,000. Also correct?
Also correct, Your Honor.
What kind of car was it?
A 2005 Chevrolet Classic.
So you bought a 15-year-old car from her?
Yes.
For $1,000?
Yes, Your Honor.
In what month did you buy the car?
I purchased the vehicle in August. Your Honor, if I may?
Yes.
In July, the vehicle was sitting undriven, and I noticed that the tags were expired, So I offered as a show of faith because I'd had an issue with the car. It was disabled. I offered in a show of faith to pay for the registration, to make the registration current, so that she would allow me to rent the car from her.
I heard the story. You're a person of very good faith. You ultimately purchased this car, another part of your lawsuit. So you want two things. You want your security deposit back, which was $1,200. She acknowledges that she got the security deposit of $1,200. Her defense to that is, you didn't pay the security deposit. The VA paid the security deposit, so you shouldn't get the security deposit back, even though there was no damage to the apartment. And you owed money for the month of January for rent, for which she used part of the security deposit. That's your defense to the security deposit portion, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Trying to simplify this mini-series so that it doesn't become a tone. The second part of your lawsuit is, while you bought this 15-year-old car that was being not driven with expired tags, you say that this woman is so misguided or damaged that she agreed to pay for any mechanical trouble you had with the car, and you had mechanical trouble with the car which cost you thousands, which you want her to be responsible for. That's the second part of your lawsuit.
My request for the repairs on the vehicle were in lieu of receipt of the title, which I've never received.
Why don't you go and get the title? Did you give him a bill of sale?
I have refused to give him the $1,200 back. He also refused to sign the marriage certificate. He wouldn't pick up the bill of sale or the title.
Just a second. Do you have it with you?
I do.
The bill of sale?
Yes.
Give it to him. Now get a title. Now you have the bill of sale. Could you put that bill of sale up there on the evidence desk so I can see it? Take down your ministry. Okay, that's dated September 20th, 2019. Okay, we're going to need some more specificity on that. You're going to have to put on that, Miss McDermott, the VIN number on the car. Do you have anything else? Do you have the title to the car? Are you the registered owner of the car?
Yes, Your Honor, I have the title. My mother was the registered owner, but she signed it over to me and also included a letter that she went with Mr. Potts to the DMV to pay the back registration so that the car would be not taken for unpaid registration, and he was supposed to turn the registration over to his name.
You want to give him the title to the car?
Yes.
Along with the note?
Yes.
Very good. Now he has all of that. And the car. She's not paying for your repairs, sir. You understand that?
I do understand.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Of the unregistered vehicle in my mother's name to a casino and received...
Now, just a sec. Just a sec.
Okay.
Come up. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Right now, I'm taking care of Mr. Potts.
Okay.
Who, his 2 months' rent that he should have paid for the 2 months that he was there is $2,400. He paid a total of $1,350, which means that he owes you $1,050.
Your Honor, I have a detail of what I paid for December and January.
Your Honor, if I may?
You're going to have to show me, sir, what you paid in total, because the VA paid up until through November. So it's December and January.
They paid a
December and January. No, they paid.
They paid a graduated amount. I was partially responsible for the rent from August, September, October, and November.
How much did you pay her?
My share was $300, $400, $500, and $600, I believe, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor. In December, when they stopped paying his full amount, he was having a hard time paying the rent.
Just a second. Were you getting a check from the VA?
They start out paying the full amount of $1,200. As the months progressed, December they stopped paying altogether. He was struggling. We lowered the rent to $850. I gave him every 2 weeks when he got paid to pay $425. He did not follow through with that. I have the return of deposit here showing exactly what monies he owes and the total of what was used from the deposit.
Okay, now this is where you're in trouble, Miss McDermott. We are eliminating. He had $1,200 in a deposit. I'm eliminating the $60 cleaning fee. Rent owed on 127 not paid, $425. Per lease, extra money for an extra person, I'm not bothering with that. If he had somebody else living there and you let that happen, let it happen. And by the way, it couldn't have bothered you that much because you let him marry you in January, right?
Right.
Rent rebate to take money on a cruise that he did not use, came back on a cruise and borrowed money from family and friends. That's ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
While it may be true that the VA paid the security deposit, he's a veteran. Between the two of you, he has more of a right to that money, certainly, than you do.
James Potts says his former landlord, April McDermott, is withholding his security deposit and the title to a car he bought from her. April is countersuing James for an unpaid parking ticket and for performing a fraudulent wedding.
Okay, so he owes you $425 for rent. Deducting that leaves $785. You gave him back nothing. Is that right? You gave him back nothing.
No.
Okay, so you owe him $785 for his security deposit. Because while it may be true that the VA paid the security deposit, he's a veteran. I assume you're not.
No.
That was a benefit that he got. That between the two of you, he has more of a right to that money, certainly, than you do as a stranger.
Sure.
And the Veterans Administration may come back to you one day and say to you, sir, you owe us $785 from the security deposit that we paid for you. But right now, as between the two of you, it's your money.
Your Honor,
$785.
The representative for the VA told me that when I move out, the deposit would be
Just
mine.
a second. Just a second.
Okay.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
I just said that to you, and you can't deduct the rent that you owe her.
Okay, I have a detail. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Okay.
I have a detail of the monies that I did pay.
Go. Go.
It's on the bottom here.
What's on the bottom there?
For December, the rent that I paid on November 18th was
Now I'm
$400.
talking about for all the months. My share, $400.
Right.
Said you took $100, paid $300. Okay, $785. We're done. That's what you get. Now let's get to your counterclaim. Parking tickets. When Mr. Potts had the car, is your claim that he got 2 parking tickets that were your responsibility and or your mother's responsibility? Do you have proof of those parking tickets?
Yes, Your Honor. It was just one ticket,
How much?
$200.
Did you pay it?
No, ma'am.
You did not pay it.
No, ma'am.
Who paid it?
It is not paid.
It's almost a year old, and it's not for you anyway. It's in the name of Joyce McDermott. That's your mother.
My mother.
Well, that's unfortunate for your mother. $785. Now, the other part of your counterclaim is a fraudulent wedding. After this kerfuffle that you had with the defendant, Mr. Potts, about the rent, and I assume that back in late January or February, there was a kerfuffle over rent. Did you not sign their marriage certificate?
I was offered by the defendant to trade signature. In the ensuing time frame, I did a little bit of research myself because when they had asked me to perform the ceremony, she told me that Richard would do the research and they would pay all the fees. So when I got myself ordained on January 1st, I thought I was helping out. And then after I had moved out and I was doing a little bit of research.
There were no fees.
There was a fee required by the County of San Diego for a deputy marriage commissioner for a day that I didn't find out about until I believe it was the end of March, well after the ceremony. So the fee, the $80 fee, so I could not legally sign the document.
Your Honor, he did not know that at the time. The marriage was in January and the document was never signed.
Yeah, I know it was never signed, but even if he signed it, it wouldn't have been legitimate, is what he's saying.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have an ethical and moral obligation not to extort something in exchange for signing the marriage certificate.
I was not extorting, Your Honor.
Why didn't you sign it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James Potts is accusing his former landlord, April McDermott, of withholding his security deposit. And
Did you and your mate subsequently marry?
We are scheduled to marry again on November 13th of this year.
Where?
Las Vegas.
And you have that all set up?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. With somebody who is licensed to perform weddings?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have family and friends coming?
One daughter and son-in-law.
Was anyone there?
14 family members that came from Arizona and California. We all went on a cruise directly after the ceremony, and that's why the original was not signed that day.
Who went?
My fiance,
The plaintiff is plaintiff too?
and all of our family members. We paid for a cruise for 3 days to Mexico for everybody, 16 people.
Did you pay, sir?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
They took you. They took you as a guest.
Yes, Your Honor, along with the other 14.
I don't care about anybody else. Well, there are other family members. You're not a family member. They took you as a guest. When did she ask you to sign the marriage license? On what date?
When I asked her for the title to my car, I have that
On
in
what
here.
date?
I believe the first time that she asked was on February 19th of 2020.
And where did that conversation take place?
In text, Your Honor.
May I see them?
You may.
I actually think that that was pretty nasty, Mr. Potts, not to sign the marriage certificate. You had nice people. You lived in a nice guest house, practically for free, with the VA picking up the majority of the tab. They were nice people. They took you on a vacation. They paid for it.
They didn't ask me if I wanted to go. I'd never wanted to go on a cruise, Your Honor.
Well, I think, sir, that you have an ethical and moral obligation, if you sign on to officiate at a wedding, not to extort something in exchange for signing the marriage certificate.
I was not extorting, Your Honor.
Why didn't you sign it?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, why didn't you sign it? In February. Just tell me why you didn't sign it in February.
Because in February,
Give me the reason.
When she was in Hawaii, she told me that she would pay me my deposit, she would give me my title when she got back. When I asked her for the deposit and the title.
Why didn't you sign? You're supposed to sign it the day of the marriage.
Right, Your Honor.
I'm an officiant. I have performed hundreds of weddings in my lifetime as a judge. The day of the wedding, the day that I perform the ceremony, I sign it, I put it in an envelope, I put a stamp on it, and the first thing I do is to put it in a mailbox. So I'm certain that I have fulfilled my obligation. Why didn't you do that?
Your Honor, this was my first ceremony ever. I was just ordained on January 1st, as you know.
Good. That just cost you $785. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much. I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy in Vegas.
Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
What did you find when you got there?
My car on top of 9 fence posts and chain link fence wrapped underneath of it.
He says he wasn't even there. It doesn't get easier. It's just going to get harder.
Judge Judy.
I believe she was a fair judge. I don't believe she was being really fair this time.
I do feel Judge Judy was fair in the judgment.
There were a lot of details that were not brought out.
I do feel that there was some stuff I didn't get to address as well, but she did the best she can.
I told her I was going to be late with the rent. I'm getting it.
He had gambled the money away that he was supposed to pay the rent with.
I was going to go and get the rent when she told me to get out.
And I had just had it at that point.
I don't know if it was fair, but I felt that that was an appropriate response to how I was being treated.
That was my mistake. I should have had it signed right away, directly after the marriage, so I take that on my own shoulders.
They packed up all of our stuff and had it by the front door.
A couple says the virus left them vulnerable.
You were laid off in early February because of COVID?
Yes, ma'am.
The landlord's cure
We actually were locked out of the house in February.
was to kick them out.
You were illegally locked out.
She cursed me out and threatened to punch me in the face.
This is Judge Judy. Sharon Suessy and her boyfriend Deontay Lawrence are suing their former landlord, Eilena James, for the return of rent, the value of their belongings, and an illegal lockout.
John, this is case number 14 on the calendar in the matter of Suessy, Lawrence versus James. The parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Thanks, Bird.
You're welcome, Judge.
Boyfriend.
Yes.
And you have a child, according to what I read here.
Yes, I have a 3-year-old.
And Mr. Lawrence is not that child's father.
No, ma'am.
You and Mr. Lawrence are expecting a child of your own?
Yes.
Okay. When did you move into a house that is owned by Mrs. James?
We moved in October 1st of 2019.
How did you find that room?
Her granddaughter is actually one of my friends. We grew up at the church together.
But Miss James was not living in the house. Her granddaughter was living in the house. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So whatever arrangement you made with regard to living in the house, whatever agreement was made with the granddaughter.
Yes, she was acting
And
as
you
the
did
house
not
manager.
have a written lease with her?
No, ma'am.
Okay. How many other people lived in the house?
When we first moved
Other
in,
than, yes.
there was a total of 10 people, 7 adults and 3 kids.
Miss James, did you know that there were all those people living in your house?
No.
And you allowed your granddaughter to stay there? Was she supposed to pay rent?
Yes, she was.
Was she working?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the rent she was supposed to pay?
She was
on
supposed
the
to pay
house?
$3,000 a month.
Did she pay it?
Yes.
And I assume that you knew that in order for her to pay the rent, she was going to have to rent out some of the rooms.
No, that was not the agreement that I had with
The
her.
agreement was that just she would be living there.
Yes, she and her family. She had a husband and a child.
All right, so,
There, October of 2019.
right. And what was your rental arrangement with Miss James's granddaughter?
We would move in the beginning of October, the October 1st to be exact. We would pay $600 a month. That was rent, including utilities. It was also supposed to include Wi-Fi in the house. When we got there, there were already roommates there, and that's what prolonged us to move in. Instead of moving in September, we moved in October because she still had other tenants in the house.
Other people there?
Yes.
Okay. So you lived there in October?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay your $600 a month in October?
Yes, ma'am. The original agreement
lived
was to
there in
pay every
November?
2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks? So
Yes.
you paid $300 every 2 weeks?
It was every 2 weeks, and then if you could not pay, inform her because she already takes care of the, I guess the $3,000 was the mortgage at the time, so she already was taking care of the $3,000, and you just
No,
paid her.
you had a fixed rent.
Yes,
no,
ma'am.
Listen, you had a fixed rent. What I'm asking you is, in the month of October, did you pay $600?
Yes, ma'am.
In the month of November, did you pay $600?
I actually paid $800. They raised the rent on October the 20th.
In November?
Yes.
In December, did you pay the $800 a month rent?
Yes, ma'am.
In January, did you pay the $800 a month rent?
Yes, ma'am.
In February, did you pay the $800 a month rent?
30-day notice to leave. Deontay was laid off due to the virus.
In February?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lawrence, what kind of work were you doing?
I'm a cargo handler at LAX.
When in February were you laid off? That's a very early date to be. Miss Suessy, I'm not speaking to you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm speaking to Mr. Lawrence now. Mr. Lawrence.
I was laid off in
And what
February, early February.
You were laid off in early February
Yes, ma'am.
because of COVID?
Yes, ma'am.
Not March.
Not March.
Are you sure about
I'm
that?
sure.
Your Honor, we also have a letter from his job as well, stating his layoff paper.
I'd like to see it.
It's right here.
Okay. You are being laid off temporarily on February 14th. And layoff temporary lack of work due to coronavirus. Please refer to California Programs unemployment. Okay. So you did work half a month in February.
Yes.
And how much was your paycheck every 2 weeks?
Around $400, $500, but around that time we was slow on work and we were barely making our 40-hour mark, and then that's what led us to being laid off because there wasn't enough work going on.
But you did get 2 paychecks
Yes.
in February.
Yes.
And Miss Suessy, what kind of work do you do?
At the time, I was working for AT&T. I was Lyft driving, I was Postmating, DoorDash, those self-contracted. So that's how I was paying my portion of the rent.
Okay, so in February,
Yes, ma'am.
when he was laid off, you knew it was temporary, but he did get paid for half a month of February, and you were still working.
In the end of January, January, my car broke down, and that's obviously how I drive, is because I have to, deliver food and stuff. So I ended up having to get a new car in February 4th to be exact. I had to buy a new car. So for about 3 weeks, we didn't have any income from my portion at all. So those 2 paychecks that he got, we had to pay back bills as well. So we didn't really have any money. Like, it was maybe checks were like $400.
Did you get a new car?
Yes.
What kind of car did you get?
Pre-owned Honda Accord.
How much do you pay a month on the car?
Oh, I paid $389 for my car note and about $215 for car insurance.
So about $600 a month.
Correct.
Okay. So you moved out in what month?
We actually were locked out of the house in February. February 28th, to be exact, was the first day of the lockout. And then February 29th, we were completely locked out. I gave a notice of 30 days on February 11th to Janine and to Eilina.
And where did you intend to go?
I had spoken with my dad to come back home.
Did your father agree to let you move home?
Yes.
With Mr. Lawrence?
No, Mr. Lawrence, I'm sorry. Deontay actually went back to his mother's house.
And that was your plan on the 11th, so that you could save money?
Yes, until we can figure out what our next steps were going to be.
Okay. The reason I'm asking these questions is because it's fine that you were planning because of his job situation. You were going to buy a new car and have a substantial car payment. I mean, you're trying to be organized. But you realize that up until February 11th, you had income from Mr. Lawrence, at least from Mr. Lawrence, and you paid $0 in rent.
Yes, so
for the month of February.
I paid nothing in February because I had multiple conversations with, at that time, Janine had took over as house manager since the granddaughter had moved out of state. I had multiple conversations with her telling her I was not working and then I will pay at the end of the month. And I actually submitted an evidence for a text message that Eilina texted the granddaughter knowing that I would pay on February 29th. And they still locked us out on the 28th.
How are you going to pay on February 29th?
Because once I got my car, I drove, Postmated, day in, day out, like 5 to 6 hours a day. Because at that time, my son was in school, so I had to pay $655 a month for his daycare as well. So I was like Lyft driving consistently.
No, I'm trying to put it together and to be responsible. But the bottom line of your responsibility was with regard to the roof over your head. Mm-hmm. You chose not to pay any rent in February, the beginning of February, or the middle of February, while still living there. You bought a new car. You were paying $600 a month for the car. You were paying $600+ a month to keep your son in daycare. That's $1,200. The only one that you weren't paying anything to for you and for Mr. Lawrence was to the landlord. And you were planning on leaving. I say all those things, Miss Suicide, because you're suing the defendant for $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're suing her for $5,000 for reasons that you say a partial return of rent. Well, why do you think you're due a partial return of rent?
Well, when we first made the arrangement to move into the house, we were told we would have a room. When we first got there, we lived in a loft. No door, no window. Oh, it had one window. We had to go upstairs. We had to pull the stairs down to even get to the loft. It was literally a small little box. We lived out of boxes for 4 months up until December. So October to December, we lived in that loft. We eventually moved down in January to a room, which was occupied at that time. We first moved in by another tenant. But in November, which happens to be her grandson, he's a schizophrenic. We weren't told that when we moved in. We've had to make multiple phone calls to the police to come take care of him, to take him to the hospital. I ended up having to send my son away to stay with his dad for about October to January, full time. I would wake up every morning, 6 a.m. to get to LA to take him to and from school, etc. Just because of the safety of the house. The house never stayed clean.
Okay, Miss Suicide, let me stop you. Everyday grown-ups deal with choices, especially people who think they're grown up enough to have 2 children. And you and Mr. Lawrence had a choice. Mr. Lawrence had a choice to go home to his mother's house if he was not happy. You had a choice to ask your father if you could come home if you were not happy. You didn't have a lease. You were on a month-to-month tenancy. If you weren't satisfied with the loft, there was nothing holding you there. You could have left.
Well, it wasn't that easy.
If you were not satisfied with the room, what I'm telling you is people have choices and have to accept responsibility. If I were living in a place that I was not happy with or didn't feel feel safe in or didn't feel safe enough for my children to live there, I would say, I'm going home to my father's house. At least I'm going to reach out to my dad and see if I can come home for a while until we can get settled. Mr. Lawrence was living with his mother. He's still living with his mother. So you had base that you were renting and paid for through February. You could have moved. So I'm not entertaining your request for a return of your rent.
We couldn't go back to our parents' house. Deontay doesn't have a room at his mother's house, and at my dad's house, my dad told me I couldn't come back.
That's not the defendant's fault.
I understand that.
That's not the defendant's fault.
But we were moved in under false circumstances, ma'am.
Listen to me. If you didn't like the loft, find another room.
We were supposed to get another room in
October.
November.
No. If you didn't like the place, find another place. You're not getting a partial return of your rent.
Okay.
Period. Those are your choices. Now, value of the property. What property are you alleging that the defendant either took from you or destroyed of yours?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This specific picture where she's saying she left her ring, I didn't see a ring, and
That's
we
a
completely
picture of
cleaned
the
up the
TV and the TV
and the blue
area.
boxes.
Miss Susie, was your TV sitting on top of those two blue boxes?
Yes.
Miss James, did you take Miss Susie's ring?
Sharon Susie and boyfriend Deontay Lawrence claim former landlord Eilena James illegally evicted them during the pandemic, late fees, and property damage.
Now, value of the property. What property are you alleging that the defendant either took from you or destroyed of yours?
I'm paying on a ring that I purchased from Daniels. When we got locked out of the house, when we were eventually able to recover our belongings, my stuff was already packed up. They had went into the room, which had a lock on my door. They took the doorknob off to go in the room. They packed up all of our stuff and had it by the front door. My ring is missing, his birth certificate is missing, and his social is missing, and we don't know where it is.
So let me stop.
Yes.
Let me stop. Do you have Mr. Lawrence's Social Security card?
No.
And birth certificate?
No.
Did you ever see it?
No.
What property of theirs did you pack up? And where did you get the boxes to pack it up, Miss James?
They had boxes in their room, and I supplied some boxes, just put the stuff in the boxes and took it downstairs. We didn't
Who's
go.
we?
My daughter and I, Janine.
Okay. Would Janine stand up and stand next to your mom, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see Mr. Lawrence's Social Security card or birth certificate?
No.
And where had you left, Miss Susie, your ring?
There were blue tubs that my TV sat on that the ring was sitting next to. The ring was actually too big because I was going to get my nails done and I wouldn't be able to keep it on because it wasn't staying on my finger.
Okay. Did you get your TV back?
We got everything back eventually a week and a half later.
Okay. You got everything back, you say, but the ring.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm still paying on that.
Miss James, did you take Miss Susie's ring?
No.
Janine?
No, ma'am. I have
No.
a picture of the room, this specific picture where she's saying she left her ring. I actually have a picture of that area. So before we packed up anything, I took pictures of all the spaces, and that is a picture, and I didn't see a ring, and
That's
we
a
completely
picture of
cleaned
the
up the room.
TV and the TV
And the blue
area.
boxes. Mm-hmm.
Miss Susie, was your
Yes.
TV sitting on top of those two blue boxes?
Yes, and the ring was somewhere right there
That's all.
behind the TV.
Well, somewhere is not
Yeah,
there.
it's
They don't
like
have the
just
ring.
thrown on.
And they packed up your stuff from that mess that was left behind. Okay. Now, with regard to the unlawful lockout, it's clear to me, Miss Susie, that you intended, based upon your own conduct, to move out by March 10th because you gave 30-day notice on February 11th, correct?
That was the second
That's
notice,
what you
yes.
just told me.
Yes.
Okay. So, in effect, when they locked you out,
Yes, ma'am.
and they locked you out the end of February, it's 9 days that you was. Now, you didn't pay rent for the month of February, and your rent was $800.
Yes, ma'am.
I need a calculator, or I need Bird. Bird,
Yes, Judge.
can you give me a daily rate on $800 a month? Let's base it on 30 days.
If I may, Your Honor, I do have a text message
No,
from...
there's not a question. There's not a question.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The reason I put her out was because she threatened to punch me in the face and tase my grandson.
Well, that's all a problem, but that doesn't give you the right
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy, Sharon Suessy, and boyfriend Deontay Lawrence claim former landlord Eilena James locked them out during the pandemic.
It's the daily rate on $800.
$26.66 a day, Judge.
Okay, and can you multiply that by 9, please?
$239.94.
I'm adding these numbers together, Bert, because I have a counterclaim here for the month of February's rent, which you are owed. But if I deduct the $250 as a penalty for putting them out 9 days too soon, that still leaves $500 on your rent for February, which I'm going to forfeit because I think it was wrong for you to lock them out on the 29th unless you have a reasonable explanation, because you got a 30-day notice from the plaintiffs that they were, in fact, moving out. And before that 30 days expired, because they told you they were leaving, so by the 9th of March, they were supposed to be gone. You could have changed the locks then.
Okay.
What moved you to move them out early?
Okay, first of all, they said they were leaving on January 1st, and they did not leave, they stayed. And then I had no reason to...
How did they tell you that they were leaving on January 1st?
My granddaughter told me that they were going to leave on January 1st.
But they never told you?
And they sent a text to Janine, because Janine was handling, and said they were leaving on January 1st.
Your Honor, we originally said we were leaving January the 1st because they tried to raise the rent again to $1,000. And I have a text message where I stated we will not be able to pay $1,000. And with the living conditions, I for sure was not paying $1,000, and I didn't have a room at that time either. I was living in the loft.
The reason I put her out was because she cursed me out and threatened to punch me in the face and tase my grandson.
Well, that's all a problem, but that protective order against her, it does a lot of things, but it doesn't give you the right to violate the law. The law says that you cannot evict anybody.
Your Honor, this was all pre-COVID. We didn't hear about COVID
What was pre-COVID?
This whole situation was pre-COVID. The whole COVID announcement didn't happen until late, mid-March.
I'm checking to see. Just give me a moment, and I'll come back to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Bert, do you have the date?
Yes, I believe it was March 27th, 2020, the moratorium.
March 27th?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Wasn't sure. Now, you lived in the house up until the end of February, so you owe the defendant $800 for rent.
Can I ask you, ma'am, why, if his whole situation was due to the COVID and it's a valid paper from his employer, that was half of our income right there?
That's not her problem.
But I informed them.
I don't care what you informed them. You paid for your car and you paid for your child's daycare. The only thing that you didn't pay for was for rent on the counterclaim. Thank you very much. We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The dog bit me on my thigh. I started screaming for her to get her dogs.
The doctor viewed 2 puncture wounds in her thigh.
She was okay.
She's being stupid.
Next Judge Judy.
There was literally 10 other people in the house before we got there.
The cleanliness of the house.
So I don't understand how she's saying it's our cleanliness.
I went to the house twice a month to clean up, and
we clean up after ourselves. We actually contributed to most of the cleaning supplies in the household.
Didn't want to rent it in the first place. Just left my granddaughter there.
I'm glad. I'm 6 months pregnant and I'm ready for it to be over.
And she rented to 1,000 people. I didn't know.
A tenant left no physical damage.
Why didn't you return her security?
But
she tried to start fights regularly.
Will the landlord...
Times on me, terrorizing me. I'm scared. I'm shaking. I need therapy after dealing with this female. I didn't do anything wrong.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop.
Whatever you say, Judge Judy.
This is Judge Judy. 23-year-old Sarah Rolak is suing her former landlord, Anna Belacqua, for the return of rent and security deposit, an illegal eviction, and assault.
Judges, case number 91 on the calendar, the matter of Rolak versus Belacqua. Parties have been sworn in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Rolak, you rented a room from the defendant over a year ago.
Correct.
And you moved out of that room because of what you allege was harassment, whatever, but that was over a year ago.
Correct.
And your lawsuit has several components. One is some rent return, one is for your security deposit. A lot of it has to do with this terrorizing that each of you claim the other is responsible for, which I assume that you've gone on leading your life, Ms. Rolak?
Correct.
I assume you've gone on leading your life for the last year and a half, other than the pandemic,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And you found another place to live?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're happy at the other place to live?
Yes.
And you are not engaged in serious therapy after you left her with the easy bread and butter part of your lawsuit, which is the return of your security deposit, okay?
Okay.
Great. You moved into the room when?
April of 2019.
And how much was the rent?
Rent was originally $1,190, and then after the first month, since the Wi-Fi did not work, she allowed me to...
Don't go. But listen to me. Don't want to hear about the Wi-Fi not working. Not important with regard to your security deposit.
Right.
Did the rent ever change from $1,119?
Yes, it did.
No,
It did.
190.
Don't speak until I speak to you. We understand each other?
Yes. Yes,
Perfect.
Your Honor.
Perfect. Did it remain $1,119?
No, it did not.
When did it change?
That first month in April, after the first 2 weeks, I let Anna know that the Wi-Fi wasn't working,
Okay.
which is why it went to $1,160 afterwards.
1,160.
60. Yes.
60.
Yes.
Did you pay April's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay May's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay June's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay July's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay August's rent?
Yes.
You moved out on August 21st,
Correct.
according to your papers. Now I'm talking to you.
She paid 1,190, so yes.
Did she pay rent in May?
She did, however, she was $30 short on
She paid
each following month.
$1,160.
Correct. That's
Just a second.
$30 short of the amount she agreed to pay at move-in.
Look at my direction. You accepted her rent in May of $1,160. Did you accept that rent? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
Did you pay by check or cash?
I paid via Venmo app.
I have the receipt.
Venmo.
Yeah, it's like cash.
So you accepted it. You didn't return it to her. That's a yes.
Yes.
In June, did you accept her rent of $1,160?
Yes.
In July, did you accept her rent?
Yes.
In August, did you accept her rent?
Yes.
Did you have a written lease?
Yes. It was partially
For how long?
typed out. I'd have to double check on the dates for the lease agreement, but I know I did end it early due to what was happening.
Do you have a copy of the lease easily accessible?
Yes.
May I see it, please? Okay, very good. 4 to 6 months. All right, nobody signs a lease from 4 to 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have to see anymore. Very good. Now, did you pay a security deposit?
I gave her cash, yes.
I don't have any proof of that.
I didn't ask you whether they had proof, and you interrupted again.
Excuse me.
Did you give her security deposit?
I gave her $800 cash for the security deposit.
When?
I think it was like March 28th. It was a few days before I moved in. We sat down and I gave her the cash for the lease.
But the rent you paid by this app?
Correct, yes.
Tell me why.
It was just easier for me because I got, the weekly checks, and I don't like to carry cash around with me. It seems kind of silly, but I just rather pay via Venmo.
Okay. When you moved in April, did you pay her first and last month's rent, or just first month's rent and security?
Just the first month in security.
Now, let's be very careful in your response to me. Understand?
Yes.
Is what you're telling me that she did not pay you security?
No, I'm saying I don't have a receipt for it. I don't have any
okay.
record that it was received.
Well, just a second. Well, memory and a receipt are two different things. If you have no receipt, that's one thing. If you don't have a memory of it, then I have to rely on her memory of it.
I would let no one move in without paying deposit.
So it's fair to say, yes, of course. Okay, so now we have you paying your rent, the rent being accepted for a 5-month period. You moved out, you had an altercation with her, which you will maybe tell me, maybe not. I would like you, because now the ball is in your court, for you to show me any damage that she caused that ate up her security, which clearly you didn't give back to her.
Your Honor, the damages of the room were minimal. I just had to clean it and replace the shades, etc. The place looked fine.
So that there were no damages. So then why didn't you return her security?
Because she tried to engage myself and the other person who lived there into altercation. She tried to start fights regularly. And also the French girl who lived there complained about her. She's a surly, unpleasant person. She made the environment negative. As a result, after 4 months, I asked her to leave. I gave her a 30-day notice. The day after I gave her the notice, she attempted to engage me in the altercation by shouting insults at me and then putting her phone 6 inches from my face. In the process, so she used that and accused me of hitting her when in fact she had thrown her phone to the ground. After that, she called the police 7 times on me to my house, terrorizing me in my home. As a result, I have post-traumatic stress. I'm scared. I'm shaking. I need therapy after dealing with this female. I'm
going to stop you right there.
And Your Honor,
I
did return $264. After she lost her job, she continued using her time to call my landlords, terrorize the city, complain about the house, get fees accrued for the house. She tried to get me in trouble with the police on multiple occasions. I didn't do anything wrong.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop.
Okay.
Did she return $264 of the security to you?
Yes, she did.
So the answer is she returned $264 of the security to you.
Correct. Yes.
Which means that there is still due and owing on the security $536.
Correct.
However, ROLAC is responsible for damages to myself regarding city fees.
No, she is not.
Okay.
No, she's not.
Whatever you say, Judge.
I think that you are under certain stressors, as we all are. It's a very stressful time in the country and the world. I don't want to exacerbate your stress.
Thank you.
So I don't think that it's necessary for me to go in much further to ensure that you get the remainder of your security deposit back, which is $536.
What about terrorizing me, calling the police on me? 7 times in my home,
Ms.
having them
Polanco.
bang on my doors and windows. That's
Ms.
what
Polanco,
she did to me. She's a Karen.
What I'm going to tell you is, in order to go into what you allege is how she terrorized you, certainly later on, because you accepted her rent, April, May, June, July.
It was after the
fact. You
fact.
accepted her rent. Just a second. You
Correct.
accepted her rent. You didn't move to evict her. I think it's in your best interest to not go into, as you say, but it's caused you a lot of stress. You're in therapy. You have issues.
Excuse me, Judge Judy. I did not say I was in therapy and that I have issues, okay? This girl terrorized me in my home, and so I asked for damages. So please don't tell me I have issues, okay?
Well, just a second. You told me you have issues as a result of it.
No, I'm telling you that she harassed and terrorized me in my correct.
And you have to return her security deposit, $536. And if, as a result of this that happened 1.5 years ago, what you're telling me is that you have no after effect of that.
That's false. In fact, for the past year and a half, she has
if you do, then I'm telling you,
legal pursuits, Your Honor. This is terrorism.
Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
How long have you and the defendant been an item?
How long have me and him been a who?
How long have you and the defendant? She would be the defendant.
Sarah Rolak claims former landlord Anna Belacqua owes for the return of rent and security deposit, an illegal eviction, and an assault. Anna is countersuing for unpaid rent, harassment, and a false restraining order.
When was the last time the plaintiff filed a case against you other than this case?
There
Give
were
me the month
multiple
and year.
attempted restraining orders.
You have to, Miss Belacqua, you have to answer my question. I said, other than this case, when was the last time the plaintiff, month and year?
I think it's April of 2020. It's all the same case, Judge Judy. It's this case.
Is it for the return of her security?
Yes.
Well, then that's what she's getting. Judgment for the plaintiff, $536. The case is over. Thank you. We're finished.
Judge Judy.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
She is evil. She tried to engage me in fights.
Because she assaulted me.
And she called the police on me 7 times like a freaking Karen.
I was using the washer and dryer, which she claimed wasn't included. And
in retaliation for me asking her to move.
She came over and I did start recording her, and then she hit me and knocked the phone out of my hand.
You know, a lot of people, when they're rejected, they act viciously, and she is that person.
I did get a temporary restraining order, and I moved out.
She is a vicious Karen with no soul.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hunter versus Cassell. Step forward.
19-year-old Tyler Hunter is suing his former landlord-to-be, LaTownsend Cassell, for the return of rent and for damage to his property.
Miss Cassell, you were renting a room in your house. The plaintiff came, looked at the room. You both agree he gave you a deposit. That didn't work out. He wants his deposit back. That's what the case is about. So I have a premises you live in.
I live in a 2-bedroom townhome.
Do you own or rent?
I'm renting.
How long have you rented there?
Been about 3 months now.
When you rented the apartment from the landlord, did you have a signed lease?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a copy of your lease?
I do not.
Why not?
I just didn't think to bring it.
When you rented the apartment and you signed the lease, did you sign the lease alone?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you advise the landlord that you would be living there alone?
Yes, ma'am.
So your lease precludes you from subletting rooms in the apartment?
I didn't read it, but yes, ma'am.
It does.
Yes. Okay.
Because most leases, when you have a lease, said that you will be the only occupant of the apartment if you're going to be in the apartment by yourself, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And despite that, how did you advertise to rent this room?
On Craigslist.
So you knew you were breaching your lease when you did that. Now, when you advertised on Craigslist, the plaintiff came to look at the room.
Yes, ma'am.
When the plaintiff came to look at your room, someone else was in the room. I want you to tell me the name of the person who was in the room.
Excuse me?
When he saw the room, there was someone else in the room. Who were you?
A boyfriend.
Was he in the room?
No.
Okay. Let's start out with, who was in the apartment other than yourself?
My boyfriend's brother.
What was he doing to give you?
Nothing.
How much money did you give her?
I gave her $300 for the deposit and $360 for the first month's rent.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about Tyler? Yeah, he gave me $300. He didn't give me $360.
He gave you $300 deposit and $360.
No, $300 for the deposit. He didn't give me $360.
I did give her $360.
Show me.
I have a signed agreement right here.
Stand up. I have questions for you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You gave her the deposit on when?
April 21st.
Well, why would you show me something where you withdrew $350 on April 10th?
Well...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tyler Hunter says former landlord-to-be, LaTownsend Cassell, owes for the return of rent and for damage to his property.
Now, tell me your last name, please.
Greer.
How old are you?
26.
What do you do?
A distributor at Target.
How long have you and the defendant been an item?
How long have me and him been a who?
How long have you and the defendant? She would be the defendant.
How long I been with her?
Yes.
Oh, for like going on 2 years now.
Who do you live with?
To go to her house.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you're not on the lease either, right?
No, ma'am.
Sit. Show me that you gave her $660.
Well, this was the signed agreement with her signature where she agreed that I would give her the deposit of $300 and I'll pay $360 per per month.
He didn't pay it.
She agrees you gave her $300, but not the $360.
Exactly.
I want to see where you gave her
Okay.
$360.
Well, I also have bank statements showing where I withdrew money to give to her.
Just a second. I'm going to see everything he has. Because so far, despite the fact that it has not helped her at all, she's giving me pretty legitimate answers. All I want you to show me is your bank statement, and you got no receipt from her, I assume.
No, I have the signed agreement.
Which I signed when he gave me a deposit, but he didn't give me nothing to sign because he gave me no $360. And that's why he's not a resident there.
He's not a resident there because you can't have a resident there other than yourself.
Okay.
And you have him. He's a resident. And the landlord should be watching very carefully. Are you still living there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you're breaching the lease. Got a whole bunch of people parading in and out of that premises.
Your Honor, the 360.
When you brought your stuff, it didn't have $360.
Listen to me. Don't speak.
Okay.
Well, you have a withdrawal. You saw the apartment on what date?
The exact date, I'm not sure of.
Well, think about it carefully.
Okay.
On what date did he see the apartment? Do you remember?
Approximately April 29th, I think. Somewhere around that time. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure.
I gave her my deposit on the 21st.
Well, 21st.
So it would have had to been a little
You
before
gave
that.
her the deposit on when?
The April 21st.
Well, why would you show me something where you withdrew $350 on April 10th?
Well, I mean, I was...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What else do you want?
The money for my mattress, which was ruined because Tylen set it outside.
Oh, good. You want to speak? I'm dying to hear it. Let's go.
Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
All right. Now, $300 you get back. What else do you want?
I want my deposit back. I want my
What
money
else
back,
do you want?
And the money for my mattress. Set it outside.
Oh, good. You want to speak? I'm dying to hear it. Let's go.
First of all,
Just a second. Did you put out his mattress?
Yes.
On
yes.
what date did you put out his mattress?
I don't know, ma'am. I seriously don't. But I didn't put his mattress out. He called me on the phone and asked me, because she wasn't there, he asked me to help him to get his stuff. He wanted his stuff out since he didn't move. He wasn't even strong enough to get it, so I helped him get it out. I helped him get his refrigerator out and his mattress. It never got ruined, because as soon as I took it out the house, it went onto the back of the truck.
Believe you. Sit down.
Exactly.
Believe you.
He
You
threw it
get
in
back
the
your
grass.
$300. Bye. That's all.
No, he-
Thank
Done.
you. Thank
Miss,
you.
she threw it in the grass.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge Judy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You were shut down because we had COVID. What are you charging her $3,000 for?
She didn't pay every single month.
Because we had COVID. You get where I'm going?
Judge Judy.
They never showed up on time, consistently lied.
How can I show up? I was at work and I told him that I was at work.
They never returned my calls. They told me dates that
Came up, I left.
they never let me move in that day.
He goes to my house with his uncle, starting a riot. I don't have time for that. I gotta go.
I saw him pay her both the deposit and the rent,
That's a lie.
and we never got both back.
Everything he said was a lie.
Just find more trustworthy people, I guess.
Never again. Just never again.